Okay, welcome everybody. This is for business math, and you want to go to this website. It's called WebAssign. It's webassign.com, and you want to click on Login, and then you need to put in your username, and your username is the beginning of your email. So, like if my email was like that, then my username would just be before the @ mark. So it would just be that. Now I'm going to use somebody else's because I've already registered. So I'm just going to use somebody else's username as an example, like that. And the institution is ritsumeikon.jp, and your password is your student ID. And you should change that later. You can change it later, but for now I'll use that. And you click Login. Let's hope that it works. Okay, according to our records, you have not yet redeemed an access code for this class or purchased Access Online. So you have to do that. Now, you don't purchase Access Online. Do not do that. It won't work. You'll end up paying double because you have to purchase it through the co-op, through the bookstore. So you can do that. You can go to the bookstore, and then when you've done that, you can enter here, click on this one, and enter the access key. But for now, you can also do it this way. Continue my trial period. So you have 13 days to before you have to actually purchase the key. So you click Continue, and you get to this. Now here you see that I've made a bunch of assignments for you. I'm sure you're happy that you have so many assignments, but here they are, and they are, you can see the due dates as well. Okay, and here there's something called the Personal Study Plan, and you can take advantage of that. So you can go through this as you want, and you can also check out View My Class Insights, which should help you, and you also have access to the text here. You also have up here a calendar. So the calendar tells you over here what's due and when it's due. And you also have communication, which is here, and you can send messages to me via that. So I guess you would click here and send me a message. And you have your grades, which are available here. You don't have, this person doesn't have any grades because we're just starting. And my assignments are here. Okay, and here's a little bit of an explanation about some of them. In particular, this first one, this assignment is intended to help you become familiar with the WebAssign system. So that you want to do that right away because you want to get used to this website, which is where you do your homework. If we click on that, you see that you have these questions here. You can access the questions by going 1, 2, 3. You can click on any of the questions, or you can just scroll down here and look at the questions. So this is all just about how to use the system. This is not about math, just how to use this website. And I want you to do that right away. It says it's due October 15th at 12 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So you do need to do this right away. Okay, so the first one says what? It's a multiple choice exercise. Select your response by clicking one of the option buttons. These are called option buttons. To change your answer, click another option button. To have WebAssign grade your answer, click Submit Answer. A mark is displayed to indicate whether your answer was correct. So select the option called "This is the correct answer." So So that's this one here. So you'd select that, and you can either save your progress and come back to this later, or you can submit your answer. Let's do the wrong answer and see what happens. Submit your answer. And it says it was wrong. Okay. Also, you can, there are notes that you can make, and you can ask your teacher. So I want you to go through this to make sure that you understand how to use these tools at WebAssign. And you can also print the assignment, and you can here get extension. You can request an extension. So if you're late on your assignment, you can request an extension, and you will automatically get that extension, but you will lose 20% of the scores of the, 20% of the answers that you haven't submitted so far. So suppose you did 5 of these, but you didn't finish all of them, and you were late on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to 13. So suppose you didn't finish those, and the assignment has been due, but you want to complete it. You can request an extension. So you can request an extension up here, and you will be granted that extension, but you'll lose 20%. Now I think you can request an extension up to 1 week after the assignment was due, and then you have, I believe, 9 days to do it after that. So you can do that. Okay, so you would click here, and here you can't get an extension because this isn't overdue yet. So you can only get an extension if the assignment has already been due and you haven't finished it. Okay? So let's go back to what else is up here. Oh, my ebook. So we're going to look at the ebook. So that's here. So the grace period ends on October 24th. If you want to use that, you have to purchase it. But I think they'll allow us to look at it now. One thing I've noticed is that the ebook kind of loads pretty slowly. And especially if you have a bad connection or a slow connection, it could take a long time. And it doesn't work like normal web page, so you can't do normal things like expand this. You have to do it here. So if you want to expand it, you can do it here. I don't know what these are. You can print the pages. And over here we have the table of contents. So we will be focusing on Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 10, 11, 12, and just a little bit of 13. So those are the chapters that we'll be focusing on. So if we go to, well, let's look at pre-calculus review. I do ask you to do this at the beginning, but I'm actually not going to talk about this. So you're just going to have to read this yourself. So this is the textbook, and it is like regular textbook. So in this chapter we review some topics from algebra that you need to now to get the most out of this book. It's not so great, is it? This chapter can be used either as a refresher course or as a reference. There's one crucial fact you must always keep in mind. I don't know why this is like this. The letters used in algebraic expressions stand for numbers. All the rules of algebra are just facts about the arithmetic of numbers. If you are not sure whether some algebraic manipulation you are about to do is legitimate, try it first with numbers. If it doesn't work with numbers, it doesn't work. I don't know why this is. I don't remember that there were letters missing like this in the past. Maybe this is my browser, or maybe this is just the way it is. Now, and again, to scroll, you have to go to here and you have to drag it down. Okay? So the first section is section 0.1, called Real Numbers, and hopefully you've seen this before. As I said, I'm not going to go through this, but you do have homework that's doing this in the first and second weeks of class. The real numbers are the numbers that can be written in decimal notation. So this is called decimal notation. This is also called decimal notation. And those are called real numbers. So that's nearly just about every number we know about we'll call a real number. The numbers that are not considered real are the what we call imaginary numbers, like the square root of -1. That's not called a real number. But I don't think we deal with that at all in this class. So the set of real numbers includes all integers, positive and negative integers, all fractions, the so-called irrational numbers, which by that we mean those with decimal expansions that never repeat. Examples of irrational numbers are the square root of 2, you probably know that, and pi is also irrational. Notice that there's no repetition here. There's no repetition here. Whereas if you took 7/3 and you wrote that as a fraction, you would end up getting something repeating over and over again. Okay, the next thing they talk about is intervals. Some subsets of the set of real numbers. So the set of real numbers is all the numbers on the number line, and we can talk about subsets of those. So not all of them, but some subset. Some subsets of the real numbers, called intervals, show up quite often, and so we have special compact notation for them. So what do they mean? They mean that if you want to talk about all the numbers between a and b, including a and b, that is the set of all x that are greater than or equal to a and less than or equal to b, that is this blue stuff here. Can be written with these square brackets like this, a comma b. This notation here means all of these numbers, which is a set of numbers, the set of all numbers that are between a and b, including a and b. And an example would be the set of all numbers between 0 and 10, including 0 and 10. And that's called a closed interval. We also have something called an open interval, which is written like this. Now this notation is a little bit ambiguous because it also has another meaning, right? You have another meaning for this, right? Often we mean a point when we write this, a point in the plane. But here we don't mean a point in the plane. They're talking about an open interval. So they're using the same notation for two completely different things. That's not a good idea, but you know that it happens sometimes, and it's happening right here. So anyway, in this case, we mean the open interval between a and b. So that's all the points between a and b, but doesn't include a and b. And we use a circle, an open circle, to mean that it doesn't include a and it doesn't include b, whereas the closed circle here means that it does include a and it does include b. Okay, so that's written like this sometimes, and for example this. So unfortunately, as I just said, this has an entirely different meaning, so you could get confused, but hopefully you'll know from when you're reading a problem that they're not talking about a point here, they're talking about an interval. And then we have what are called half open, so that's like this or like this, okay, which can be written like this or like that. Okay, so this is the textbook. Now, in the textbook, they have videos for you, and this right here happens to have a video, so you can click on that, and you get this video. And you can listen to it, watch it.
It's often the case that letters are used in this inequality situation, and there are several ways to describe an inequality when letters are used. One way is to use an inequality statement, and this one says x is less than 2. Another way to describe this inequality is by using a graph. Now, to use a graph...
Okay, so I'm not going to make you watch it now, but hopefully you'll watch it later. And there are many videos available in the text, and I'm sure that they are helpful. And the text is, a real math text, which means it requires concentration and effort to read it, but it is well written and it is accurate and clear. So if you want to learn this material very well, you really want to understand it and master it, then I suggest that you use the text, that you read it. But that means reading it, probably rereading it several times. Okay? I also highly suggest that you read the text for those of you who want to do well, for those of you who want to be confident when you finish this class in mathematics. I suggest that before we cover the material in class, and you'll probably be able to know that by looking at the schedule here, or looking at the calendar here. So before we cover something in class, I suggest that you find that material in the book and read it. That's especially recommended for people who want to become confident in this material and who want to say that they've mastered this material. Okay? Okay, another thing I want to mention is that we're going to have makeup classes. We're probably going to have a makeup class on the 22nd of this month, which is a Saturday. We're probably going to have one on the 5th of November, which is a Saturday. All of them will be on Saturday. We're probably going to have one on the 19th of November. So that's at least three makeup classes. And that will also mean that there'll be a period probably after November 23rd, I believe, when we won't have class for several weeks. But we will have these makeup classes before that. Also, please check the announcements section of the front page, where I'll put some announcement. I put this here today, but I'll try to put other announcements there if I need to. And again, if you want to communicate with me, you can use this here to communicate with me. And furthermore, let's explore the notifications section over here. So I suggest that you go and click on notifications and set this up. Remind me by email before an assignment is due. So you can be reminded 24 hours before it's due, and 30 hours before it's due, and 12 hours before it's due, whatever of these you want to check. Notify me by email when my instructor changes a due date. So you should definitely do that, because it's possible I could change a due date and you would want to know that I've changed it. When I post an announcement, I would suggest you do that. Answers an extension request, well, I probably won't need to do that because it'll be automatically granted to you, but you can still check that. If I send you a message, you might want to check that. And answers and ask your teacher message, you might want to have that there as well. And notification contact info. So make sure that you have the right email there, and you can do this verify there. Okay, so I definitely suggest that you set up the notifications. In terms of help, you can get help here about how to log in, how to find your scores, what are the study aids available. You can check all of these. There's even online tutoring, instructor assistance, forums. We probably won't use too many forums. I'm not sure yet. Maybe we will. And so on. If you're having trouble, you can contact support by clicking here, and so on. Under My Options, you can change your password, which I suggest you do, and you can look at settings and accounts as well. And I am going to try to record most of our classes and upload them to YouTube, and I would like everyone to subscribe to the YouTube channel where I'm uploading them, and make sure that you select the option in YouTube that allows you to be notified when I upload a new video. So the site on YouTube is called InsiderMinor, and I have many videos here, and they're listed basically under the different playlists. So I have this is the one that you'll want, Business Math 2016 Fall, which I'll start to upload. In fact, I'll put this video up there. And then I have other things for other classes: data mining, statistics, and the old business math class, but there are not so many videos there. More data mining stuff like about neural networks, and more data mining. This is a class I have called Information Science, which is also data mining. Things about programming in R, and so on. Anyway, lots of different playlists here, but this one will be Business Math 2016 Fall. I'll be adding videos to this, and I want you to subscribe to this, and make sure that there's some option. I don't have it here because I'm the owner, the creator of this site, so I guess, but there's some place where you can choose to be notified whenever I upload a new video. So please make sure you do that. Okay, but make sure that you subscribe to InsiderMinor on YouTube. In terms of the homework that you're going to have to do, you can see that you have one called Getting Started with WebAssign, which we began to explore. That's due on the 15th. Then on the 22nd, you have all of these to do. Homework with real numbers. So this is just review from your old classes, I guess. Homework with exponents and radicals. Homework solving polynomial equations. Homework for the coordinate plane. Homework functions from numbers, algebra, and graphs. And homework functions and models. So in order to do all of this, which is quite a lot actually, you're going to have to go through the book. So these are associated with the pre-calculus chapter here. So you'll have to read this and then try to do the homework. Okay? Then for October 29th, we have quizzes on some of this, another quiz on some of this, another quiz on this. This is, I call them quizzes, but they're homework assignments. They're not in-class quizzes. And then you have homework on simple interest and homework on compound interest. So these are review from the homework that you did before, and then these are new topics that are also due October 29th. Okay? And then looking at November 5th, we have quizzes on functions and models, because you did homework on functions and models here, and quizzes on linear functions and models, We did those here. Actually, I made a mistake. This stuff is new, and we're going to cover this in our first class. This is not, I don't consider this review. Okay, I do consider these things review, but I don't consider these review. We're going to cover these in class, and then you'll have later on a quiz on those. Still homework, but they're called quizzes. Okay? And so on throughout the class. Okay, and then I'm also going to ask you to look at a site called Khan Academy. So you can look up Khan Academy on Google, and you go here, and I think you don't have to do anything. I don't think you have to log in. Maybe they're asking us to log in. They didn't used to do that. But anyway, let's just log in. Okay, now this is the best learning site for mathematics on the internet, and not just for mathematics, but for many, many different subjects. But it started out with mathematics, and you can read about the history of Khan Academy. It's really great, and he is the most wonderful teacher, and he's very, very clear. And if you ever missed or didn't understand something in high school or junior high school in mathematics, and you felt you got lost, you can come here and he'll explain it to you in a way that you will fully understand it, and you'll say, oh, that was so easy, why did I ever get lost? But anyway, it's all here. So it's got early math, arithmetic, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, statistics, calculus, differential equations, linear algebra, electrical engineering, health and medicine, biology, organic, many, many, many things. Okay? It's absolutely the best. And I'm going to ask you to view some of these videos, and I'm going to give you some quizzes at the beginning of our class on the videos that you were supposed to view. And my main purpose is to get you used to using Khan Academy, because once you get used to it, then when you have trouble with math, you can always come back and you'll feel comfortable finding whatever it is that you need to learn. But we'll be doing some stuff in calculus, and we'll be doing some stuff in algebra, and probably not, trigonometry. But I will ask you to go through some of this, and I'll announce those in class, and then the next week we'll have a quiz at the beginning of our class on whatever I had asked you to view in Khan Academy. Just to show you very quickly, in our first class, I'll be talking about functions. Let's see what Khan has to say about functions.
A function, and I'm going to speak about it.
Maybe you can't hear this very well.
Right now, is something that will take an input. It will take an input, and it'll munch on that input. It'll look at that input. It'll do something to that input, and based on what that input is, it will produce a given output. So what is an example of a function? So I could have something like f of x, and x tends to be the variable most used for an input into the function, and the name of a function tends to be the most used variable, but we'll see that you can use others. But we could have f of x is equal to, let's say, x squared if x is even, and let's say it is equal to x plus 5 if x is odd.
Okay, so I'm not going to make you watch this here, but you can come back and of course watch it on your own. In fact, I think I'll I'll assign you something in this
This is
right
saying
away.
let's input
Anyway, so this is
2
Khan Academy,
function X.
and I do want you
Everywhere
to
we
start
see
using
this
it.
X here, this
Okay, so I think I'll stop this video. I usually like to stop videos after 5 minutes. On the other hand, this video was about 25 minutes, so I'm much too far overdue. But anyway, okay, so don't forget to ask. I just want to make sure that everybody is welcome. Everybody feels welcome. Everyone feels welcome to ask questions. Everyone feels welcome. Well, I just say that I'm American, and I was taught in an American system, and we were always free to ask questions, and I was one of the worst people because I would ask questions anytime I felt like it, and I would point out teachers' mistakes if I thought I saw one, which didn't happen that often, but sometimes. But if I ever had a question, I would always ask it, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Never let me go without answering your question. If you know, it doesn't happen here in Japan, but when I taught in America, sometimes, you know, people would start asking so many questions that it would just prevent me from getting to the end of the lecture, and then I have to stop and just say, well, I'm sorry, I can't answer that now because I do have to get to the end of the lecture or close to the end of the lecture. So, but anyway, that hasn't happened in so many years I can't remember. But so please feel free to ask as many questions whenever you want, and feel free to, because if you have a question, you can bet that at least 20% of the other students have the same question and are wondering what the hell the professor just said. And probably that could be because the professor made a mistake, or went too quickly, or didn't explain it clearly. So I really want to make sure that everybody can understand what I'm talking about, and if I don't explain it clearly, which can happen sometimes, I want to be asked about it so that I do explain it clearly. Okay, so and about the Math Tutoring Center, I believe we do have a Math Tutoring Center, and you can ask me about that in class, because right now I don't know the details about when that is or where that is. But we will have tutors available where you can go to get all the help that you need. And don't forget about Khan Academy here. This is a wonderful site. Okay, see you.